What is the legislation that governs food storage in ENS?
Correct. The Food Act 2003 is the right answer.
What is a favorite article of food for the natives? Dash.
Great thinking. Yams is the right choice.
Which of the following is the example of processed food?
Good thinking. Salted egg is the right answer.
Preventing food from rotting is a function of technology.
Smart pick. Food is the correct choice.
What is the primary focus of Haas Food Technology in ENS?
Great job. Understanding food science principles is the accurate answer. The texture of food in our mouth is referred to as dash. You chose mouthfeel, and it is correct.
Hunter-gatherer societies blank and blank for food dash.
Excellent. Forage and hunt is a brilliant choice.
Which of the following is an example of a staple food?
Right again. Bread is a valid answer.
What is the correct order for the technology process?
Well done. Need problem. Research, ideas, plan and make. Evaluate is the right choice.
What should you use to take food out of a hot oven?
On track. Oven gloves is the correct answer.
It's fine to sit on the counters during cooking lab?
Solid response? How dare you? No is a valid choice.
Which one of these nuts is an Australian bush food?
Sharp thinking. Macadamia is the right choice.
What food group supplies a large amount of protein?
Well picked. Meats is the correct answer.
The part of the food chain that makes food our dash.
Smart move. Producers is an accurate answer.
What is the role of software in the food industry?
Correct response. To aid in quality assurance and reduce food waste is the most accurate answer.
Dash is the process of putting food in containers.
You got it. Your choice packaging is right.
What preserves the food by lowering water content?
Nicely done. Dehydration is a solid answer.
Which is an example of unethical food advertising?
Valid point. Exaggerated nutritional claim is true.
Which of the following is not a food preservative?
Bravo, pepper is the answer.
What are the impacts of food product innovations?
Clear logic. Your choice, social and cultural, economic, environmental, nutritional is sound and 100% true.
What temperature should frozen food be stored at?
Nice work. You chose below 18C and it is correct.
Below are the benefits of food technology except...
You're right. Makes food products go stale quickly is the correct answer.
The part of the food chain that provides energy?
Strong choice. Sun is the right answer.
Which food group does yogurt and milk belong in?
Good job. Your answer dairy works well here.
Why freezing food helps to reduce food spoilage?
Excellent choice. Low temperature slows down microbes' activity is the right answer.
The process of freezing then drying food is dash?
Perfect. Freeze drying is the correct choice.
What are the 4 Ps of a food marketing plan?
Nice selection. Product, Price, place and promotion is the correct and valid answer.
Which food group contains the sugar? Fructose.
Exactly. Fruit and vegetables make sense and it is right choice.
Which of these is not a role of food additives?
Well reasoned. Providing additional calories to food is the correct choice.
Pariti, something you can use to serve food on.
Right choice. Plates is the best answer.
Freezing is a food preservation method because.
Right choice. Low temperature retards the growth of microbes is the best answer.
In food technology, what does HACCP stand for?
Nice work. You chose hazard analysis and critical control points, and it is correct.
What does the term processed food refer to?
Strong choice. Any food that's part of a food system is the right answer.
Coloring is added into food to make it dash.
Right again. Attractive is a valid answer.
Which of the following is correctly matched?
Smart move. Flavoring adds taste is an accurate answer.
What is the importance of food preservative?
Sharp thinking. Fight spoilage is the right choice.
How does adding sugar work to preserve food?
Nicely done. Water content is decreased is a solid answer.
The sensory characteristics of food include.
You chose appearance, odor, flavor, texture, and it is correct.
Jam is an example of what type of food dash.
Great job. Non-perishable is the accurate answer.
How does dehydration work to preserve food?
Clear logic. Your choice removes water content is sound and 100% true.
Which food type is considered to be low G?
Smart pick. Pasta is the correct choice.
What is George Washington Carver known for?
Great thinking. Crop rotation and peanut is the right choice.
Dash cut, cook, dry and freeze food.
Excellent choice. Food processors is the right answer.
What is a disadvantage of preserved foods?
Well picked. The nutritional value of the food is altered is the correct answer.
Which one is classed as a high-risk food?
Good thinking. Raw chicken is the right answer.
How do thickeners improve a food product?
Excellent. They increase the viscosity of a product is a brilliant choice.
How does freezing work to preserve food?
You're right. Removes water content by freezing water particles is the correct answer.
Which of these are food prep techniques?
Valid point. Frying is true.
What do you do when you finish cooking?
You got it. Your choice cleanup is right.
What food group does chicken belong to?
Well done. Protein is the right choice.
Hydroponic technology is an example of.
Nice selection. Emerging technology is the correct and valid answer.
How much food is produced relates to.
Bravo. Food availability is the answer.
A severe form of food shortage is dash.
Correct response. Famine is the most accurate answer.
Sweet and salt added to food items for.
Solid response. Preservation is a valid choice.
Which food group does this belong in?
Well reasoned. Dairy is the correct choice. Which food is a good source of lipids? Perfect. A bottle of vegetable oil is the correct choice. Dash sell food directly to consumers. Good job. Your answer, food retailers, works well here. What is Clarence Birdessie known for? On track. Quick freezing and frozen food is the correct answer. Can people afford food relates to? Correct. Food accessibility is the right answer.
What food group does bread belong?
Exactly. Carbohydrate makes sense and it is right choice. What is William Kellogg known for? Correct. Cereal is the right answer.
What's the state food of Maryland?
Great thinking. Crabs is the right choice. To cut food into neat, even pieces. Sharp thinking. Slice is the right choice. It uses vinegar to preserve food. On track. Pickling is the correct answer. What is Nancy Johnson known for? Perfect. Ice cream churn is the correct choice. Low sodium salt is an example of. Good thinking. Medical food is the right answer. Always cup chop food on a dash. Great job. Cutting board is the accurate answer. What is major component of food? Correct response. Carbohydrate is the most accurate answer. What is Louis Pasteur known for? Smart move. Bacteria and germ theory invented pasteurization is an accurate answer. What are the 5 food groups? You're right. Grains, legumes, dairy, fruit, vegetable, and meat is the correct answer. What is cross-contamination? Clear logic. Your choice when raw food comes into contact with cooked food is sound and 100% true.
An example of a food trend.
Strong choice. Beyond Burger is the right answer.
Cross-contamination is dash.
Nice selection. When bacteria is transferred from one food to another is the correct and valid answer. Chicken is an example of a solid response. Perishable food is a valid choice.
What is meant by obesity?
Valid point. The consumption of more food than is needed is true. Natural disasters effect. You got it. Your choice, all mentioned, is right.
A foodborne illnesses.
Smart pick. Illness caused by contaminated food is the correct choice.
Sensory evaluation is?
Excellent choice. Taste, smell, sound, feel, and appearance of food is the right answer.
What is agriculture?
Right again. The cultivation of plants, domesticating animals is a valid answer.
What is a recipe?
Bravo. A set of directions used in preparing food is the answer.
How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format?
Excellent. Contact Narayan Changder is a brilliant choice.